Hi, welcome to Get Serious. So today I just wanted to go over a few notes on flat fee MLS listings. So I know a lot of folks have had success using that strategy. So yeah, this might be old hat for some of you, but up until this one transaction, or not transaction, but rather a property that it seemed like a worthwhile experiment for a number of reasons I won't get into for the purpose of this video. We hadn't ever explored that route before. It's always just been, traditional listing process, expecting a total commission of roughly 6 to 10%, depending on the area of the country and what brokerage you're working with. So, like, the whole purpose of the flat fee listing is to handle more of the inbound potential buyers directly in-house, and kind of the exchange is that you pay less from the listing agent side, but it's really not that different. So for this particular property that we were working with, and we it's a pricier property, and figured, okay, if we're going to do this flat fee thing, like, just sign up for the highest level of service. It's not like much different, right? It's like, a one-time fee of $350 versus $300 for a top tier plan. So like, who really cares? I guess if you're doing like, really tiny properties where that might affect margin more, but for us, it was no problem. I think it might have affected the percent, the percent paid to whoever the listing agent is who manages a flat fee listing, because I guess that's how it works. Is like, you think, okay, flat fee listings is you're not, or it's in for sale by owner, an FSBO type setup, but it's actually not, because you have to be listed on the MLS. Like, there is an agent representing the listing. So at least the one that we found, there was a flat fee just to start the listing, but then I want to say it was a point and a quarter to get charged as commission, with like a minimum of $1,000 to be paid at the point of closing. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think the lower tiers, the commission percentage went up a little bit higher. I think that was the trade-off. I kind of forget here. Either way, like, typically you'd be looking at, 3+%, 3 to 5% from the listing agent side. But the thing is, like, you're still assuming there's buyer agents active in the area. You're still going to be paying a buyer agent too. So you're basically, again, baking in probably at least 3% on the, exit, plus, whatever point and a quarter, or minimum fee associated on the listing agent side. So like, it's not that different from a normal listing process, but we got some additional bonuses and extra support based on the tier that we chose. And I've actually been quite pleased with the service there. Because first off, the list, I mean, you would think, okay, yeah, flat fee agent, they're just kind of like, going to be totally non-responsive. They're just there as basically a figurehead, and you manage the listing. But this is actually one of the better realtors, like even, more responsive than a number of listing agents that we've worked with in the past. I don't know if it's just this person in general, or like from the higher level of service that we got, but I'm like, okay, and this guy's like head of his brokerage and everything too, like a lot of experience, a lot of legal experience. So it's just pointing things out on contracts, like happy to review, all offers and so forth on how to kind of make sure that you're not getting screwed over. Even us being veterans in the business, like, it always helps to have an extra pair of eyes, especially if you're possibly in a new jurisdiction or what have you. So to me, like, the trade-off is pretty solid there. So really the only thing that's changed is kind of managing the buyer leads that come in. So I'm actually more open to doing that, like, especially in an area, like, if you have a really solid realtor, especially one you've worked with before, or, you can already just tell, hey, they're like super responsive, there's going to be no issue. But if you have some, key questions in an area for a property that you're buying, it might be worth exploring more of that flat fee setup, where it's like, I don't know if I can trust any of the realtors in this area to be like super responsive here. And you want to manage more of the handling of buyer leads. But the way that it's oriented is that it's typically in the agent remarks that you are listing, whatever your company's phone number is or what have you. So like that's supposed to be directing agents who are looking at the MLS to reach out to you directly instead of whoever is managing the listing for you. But in practice, like the leads that we already have been getting on this, most of them are still going directly to the agent managing the listing, because like that's the most publicly available, and people are lazy, right? So they're just going to go after what is most visible there. But kind of game plan is, okay, then that listing agent, they just automatically text or email whoever these leads are directly to us as soon as they come in, and we just deal with them. So it's kind of a handoff there from that perspective. And they might say handle a couple questions going back. So again, like the difference in service is not too different from just the full listing agent process, because again, we're like paying fairly similar dollars from a commission side, and they're still doing a decent amount of work here. So I thought it was going to be much more hands off from like the listing agent side compared to what we've experienced so far, but that might just be this particular platform, this particular tier. So either way, like even if you think, oh yeah, flat fee, you're just gonna be managing everything, you still are kind of reliant on that listing agent to be responsive to at least send you leads. So you're still kind of stuck with that being a hurdle to get over, even if your info is kind of directly included within the agent remarks there. So, we did get a couple folks reach out directly to us, but, for the most part, people were going to the listing agent that had to forward over to us. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. Like, I'm pleased with the experience so far. I was kind of confused on how it worked when I saw, oh, wait, why is there an agent assigned to us? I thought like my info is just going to be on that, but, got clarified once we already committed to doing it this route. So just something to bear in mind if you haven't tried that scenario. Again, to summarize, like, yeah, if you're in an area where you think the realtors are more questionable, are not like a lot of land focused realtor options, then yeah, consider a flat fee arrangement to go after. If you just have a solid listing agents, a lot of land being traded, you can probably just use the typical route, unless you really want to handle a lot more dispo related calls internally within your business, which isn't a bad idea in a market like this when you're going to be super incentivized to get a deal done in a difficult market. But something else to note too, just on contracts, because we had another contract that had an EMD and an option fee. Well, actually, it just had an option fee set up on it, not an EMD. But the listing agent for this flat fee was just like super legally minded and was just helping us. And he's like, hey, there actually does need to be a nominal EMD at least too. Like, it can't just be a pure option fee. So we had to switch that around to where, what's the general nominal amount, like $10. So we just swapped that and like, okay, that's the only way to make it legally binding. And I was just not aware before either that even if we execute a contract, like if the EMD or option fee is not receipted by title and in their escrow account, like the contract is not legally binding either. And so you can't legally update a live listing to pending until that is done. So this might just be a jurisdictional thing depending on what state that you're in here. But I was not aware of that. We've been doing this a long time here too, which is, again, you learn something new every day. And usually we're not like too deep into the particulars of contract nuance and so forth. And again, we tend to work pretty much all the time with agents who are handling kind of making sure we're addressing everything properly, going back to title companies and so forth. And some folks are going to be looser than others here, but I'm glad to always have somebody on our side who is just like to the letter of the law that this is what makes things legally binding or not. And hey, we're here to kind of look out for you. You signed up for this service, is what you're paying for, so might as well use it properly. Because I was just sending out a contract with the belief that it was going to be binding, even if it was signed and so forth. But it just wasn't without that money coming in. So just something to note there. If you've ever been in that situation and that you might be missing some nuance, so that just helps to have another professional take a look at what you are doing and whether you can be potentially more legally protected or not in case something goes wrong with the particular deal at hand. So just wanted to share that extra little tidbit there. But been a pretty interesting experience going through this flat fee. I would probably repeat it again based on what I said earlier. So let me know if you have any other thoughts or suggestions in the comments here. You can always message me directly. But hopefully this one was helpful today. SeriousLand.capital, any of your funding needs, Land Daily Diligence Facebook group just had a good session yesterday. Crazy property in California that very tough nut to crack for valuation side. We saw a property that's listed for I think $117 million. I've never seen a property listed for 9 figures before. I mean, it's been sitting for 400 some odd days on who buys that, right? There's maybe a handful of institutional buyers in the world that can purchase something like that. I've never seen. I don't even know if I've seen anything more than half that amount. And those are usually 20,000 square foot billionaire homes on a ski slope or something like that. You just don't see real estate of any kind that reaches those type of numbers there, or maybe some these data center plays. But even then, 9-figure raw land purchase, it's just wild. That one was kind of interesting. Again, learning new stuff. We've seen a lot, but I've never seen that before. Testing more right after recording this, most reliable land pricing tool on the market. Subscribe and share, everybody. And remember, check out Callan's Bootcamp. Links are below if you haven't signed up. I mean, what do you have to lose? $97 option to see whether AI can change your business and your life for good. I obviously have taken that bet, so hope to see you there at the bootcamp starting October 2nd, just a week away here. Excited to see you all. Take care now. Bye.